Picture this. You're at an underground show. The beat is knocking, the rapper has bars, but halfway through the verse, the crowd completely checks out. When you use the exact same cadence for an entire verse, the track can start to sound like a long, repetitive run-on sentence. The listener's ear gets used to the pattern, and eventually, they stop leaning in to hear the lyrics. To prevent that fatigue, you can use 3 specific levers to transition from your starting rhythm into a completely distinct flow. Before we break those down, you'll need 2 things to follow along: an instrumental beat and 4 pre-written bars of a standard verse. These 3 levers give you a repeatable way to manipulate track dynamics, allowing you to reset the listener's attention exactly when you want to. The first lever is changing your rhyme scheme. In this context, that means specifically altering the syllable count of your rhyming words for the next 4 bars. A common mistake is simply swapping out the rhyming words, like going from hot caught robot to stop rock cop, while keeping the rhythm the same. Because the syllable count hasn't changed, the flow sounds identical. Instead, shift the actual count. If your first 4 bars use 3-syllable rhymes, try switching to 1, 2, or 4-syllable rhymes. You can also stretch a single word out. By drawing out those syllables so they take up the space of multiple words, you create a new rhythmic pattern. To verify the change, try reading the lyrics aloud without the beat. If you've done it correctly, the cadence should feel physically different in your mouth. Syllable variation provides the structural change needed for a flow switch. Without this shift in the underlying pattern, other techniques will struggle to create a clear transition. The second lever is changing your vocal tone and emotional delivery for the second half of the verse. If you start with a loud, aggressive delivery, you can create contrast by shifting to a lower, quieter, or melodic tone for the new section. When you make this shift, avoid being subtle. A slight change in voice can sound like an unintentional recording error. A clear, drastic shift provides the auditory cue the listener needs to recognize that the verse has moved into a new phase. Tone and delivery provide the emotional contrast that makes a technical syllable change feel like a deliberate performance choice. The third lever is changing the seat, which refers to the specific beat where the first word of your flow lands. In a standard 4/4 measure, most rappers start their flow on the 1, usually the kick drum or the 808. This establishes the initial seat of the verse. To switch the seat, you insert a deliberate pause at the end of your first flow. You skip the 1 entirely during the transition. Then you start the second flow exactly on the 2, the snare drum. If you have already changed your syllables and your tone, moving the seat isn't always necessary for a successful switch. However, it is an effective technique used to create a clear, distinct separation between 2 parts of a verse. Shifting the seat moves the foundation of the rhythm, requiring the listener to adjust their ear to the new placement of your words. Let's look at a 12-bar verse that combines rhyme scheme changes, tone shifts, and seat changes to see how these levers work together. The first flow lands right on the 1 with a standard tone. Next, an intentional pause moves the seat. The second flow hits the snare with shorter syllables and melodic delivery. The final flow lands just before the 1, using spaced-out rhymes for contrast. Syllables, tone, and seat. Use these 3 tools the next time you record. Record a voice memo of a multi-part verse, listen to the difference in dynamics, and let me know your syllable counts in the comments.